Hi everyone, Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel and another video. It's in the title. We're swatching some more Birmingham Pen Company inks today. We're going to swatch 4 that were sent to me from a really lovely pen friend, Elle, who very generously, I fell in love with Pennsylvania Fieldstone from the Joy of Pen and Papers YouTube, and she sent me that along with 3 other really cool colors. My pen friend, that is. I've actually done an ink deep dive on Pennsylvania Fieldstone, which I'll put up in the cards now. I really love the ink. I think it's got some really awesome characteristics, so check that out if you want. But let's just jump right in. Let's go with why everyone's here, which is not me talking, it's the ink swatching. 4 inks today. The first one is called Banana Slug, which I think is an incredible name. I said this in my first Birmingham ink swatching video. I think that they, like, all their inks are incredible, but man, they have great names as well. I love a clever name. So, and I feel like this is where someone in the comments will be like, a banana slug is actually something in America. That's no, you know, I just think it's a cool name. I'm just putting the words banana and slug together, but maybe it's an actual type of slug. Who knows? So the word that jumps out at me is like mustard. It's a yellow, but it's more than a yellow. It's like a dark, dirty yellow. There's hints of orange in there, but again, it's not even really an orange. It's like a bronze, brown kind of color. That's really awesome. I really want to, let's just go straight to the writing sample because I'm intrigued to see if it writes, like if it's legible, if it's going to be dark enough. Oh no. I had a request to write a bit bigger. I would love to know how I'm going. Doesn't come naturally to me, but I'm trying. I think it's messier. So if you think that's better, let me know. Let's see if I can. So look, that's with a fine nib. I think it actually is going to be dark enough to do. Like I need to, you know, obviously ink it up properly and have it for a full page, but I can read that quite clearly. Yeah, I'm looking at it there, it goes, okay, I do want to go to the next step of putting it in a pen because even just with that writing sample, I do think it's dark enough, which is awesome. I think it's a really cool color. It's interesting and I kind of like the grunge dirtiness of it. Awesome. So next up is definitely my favorite so far, just of the ones that I've kind of explored. And I had so much fun doing that ink deep dive, and I chose this one for that because I just think this ink, as much as it's like a pink, it has so many other colors within it, and I love when inks do that. So here we go with Pennsylvania Fieldstone. I'm going to try and fit 4 swatches on 1 page. So I'm hoping you can see the complexity of it through the camera lens, but straight away the base color is this pink with hints of purple and grey in there, but then where it pools you get bits of green. And from memory, when I did my ink deep dive, so I just want to do it now. Yeah, so when I go to clean the syringe, what I find really interesting is you see the hints of green more in that water versus in the sample. I don't know the science behind that. Maybe the doodlebud does, but I find that, I guess, to be like a bit of an interesting tidbit. But I just think that is such a gorgeous ink that it pools, and when that pooling dries, the green starts to disappear and more of the pinky purple come through as well. So the experience of the ink just keeps changing as you use it. So let's do a writing sample. I don't know if I've worked my spacing out too well. So look, in a fine nib, you're not getting all of those characteristics, but I still just think it looks like a nice ink. Just really love the dusky and almost like dusty, muted, grungy, all the words that I use in basically all of my videos. All those characteristics with little bits of, I don't know if that technically counts as like chromo shading, but you are just getting different colors there. Be interesting to see when I edit this how much of that comes through the lens or not, because just looking at my phone, it looks darker and more purple when I can see just on my phone what you're seeing compared to what's on the page. But it'll be interesting to see once I put, edit it, how it dries and I guess what you guys can see. All right, next up is Freshwater Bog. And looking through the vial, it looks like a pretty dark blue in there. Let's jump in. You can't really tell much from there, but let's have a look. Maybe it's not as dark as I first thought. That's cool. In the lighter bits, it's almost like a little bit of like an electric blue. There's a vibrancy there that I didn't see in the vial, which is really cool. I'm going to call that like a medium blue. Interesting to see how it pulls. I wonder if I can move that down a little bit. I think maybe I'm seeing little bits of like purple in there. I can't. Part of me thinks it's warm and part of me thinks it's cool. I'm going to go maybe it's warmer, but I don't know if that vibrancy, that kind of electric blue feeling to it is throwing me off a little bit, but I actually think that's really nice. Let's see when it writes, if it's going to write in this lighter or darker type of color. Fresh water. Oh, bog. Slight spelling mistake there. So it's writing kind of like here, which is nice. Like, it's what's interesting is these three colors, they write all a little bit lighter, but all still really legible, which I think is fantastic. I hate when you get this lighter ink and it looks amazing when you swatch it, but then you write it and you can't read it. So it just so happens that these three, I think, all are on the lighter side and it's working well. Now, a whole bunch of constructions just started outside my window. So I'll see how it looks, but if I switch to voiceover, it's because I've looked at this afterwards and all you can hear is like trucks. And I've gone to a voiceover instead. So I guess hi future Sarah, if that's what's happened. And if not, and it's far enough away and it's really just bothering me and not you, cool. Last but not least is Juniper. And it's a green, but like really dark in there. As I mentioned before, like I discovered this because Birmingham doesn't stock in Australia and they don't ship internationally. But I discovered this color through a YouTube channel and then, went down a really lovely rabbit hole. And I'd love to know if there's an ink or a pen, but really an ink that you fell in love with purely just through looking at it through someone else's eyes. Like it was how the joy of pen and paper, like how she described it and spoke about it, and then watching it at the same time, her write with ink is what made me fall in love with it and do some research. And I love when that happens. I'd love to know if you've had that experience before and what ink did that, or what channel and ink, I guess, did that for you. This is an amazing ink. This is like ticks all my boxes. Green, dark, grungy. That's gorgeous. Oh, look at these 4 inks. They're amazing. This page is like happiness. Those ones especially. So I'm describing this as a dark green with some greys in there or some blacks. Kind of makes it a little bit cooler. I think greens are funny. Some of them work really well and others like can kind of just look like vomit. But this looks really, really awesome. And just beautiful in the writing sample as well. I'm always on the search and in love with an ink that at a quick glance can look black and then you go back and go, oh, actually that's blue. So for me, like I'd use that at work. I can see myself, you know, like doing a few journaling pages in that. You're not straining your eyes at all. Interestingly, in the swatch and in the writing sample, there's not much shading. It is kind of just looking like that one color, which is okay, but it's also, I wonder if that's pen sensitive. Be interesting to see how that pooling dries, but that's just a really nice, gorgeous green. I'm trying to think if it's similar to, I always get confused. well, it's actually, I've just pulled that out. It's actually almost similar to Robert Oster Black and Blue without the shimmering bits, but the base layer there is really quite close. But that's not what I was thinking of. I really can't compare those two to anything. I just think they're really unique colors. But I was wondering if it's similar to Twilight, which is another favorite of mine. But sometimes I do it and I go, oh, this actually looks really blue or really green. Let's have a looky. Is this riveting YouTube for you? You think I could get my act together and maybe like pull out samples first? Well, there's another one that's interesting. As you can tell, I kind of like dark greens. That's Colorverse Able. This is lighter, and I feel like this has more yellows in it compared to that. No, I'm not going to be able to find it. That's okay. I'll leave it there for now. So to just go over it again, we have up the top, Banana Slug. Next up, Pennsylvania, Fieldstone, Freshwater Bog, and then Juniper. 4 really incredible Birmingham Pen Company inks. They're not completely dry, but look, we're getting bits of bleeding and everything else to be expected. Looking at this Banana Slug one, actually in the Fieldstone as well, like the borders of the black around it, I really love. You're just seeing the layers of color there. And these two are still drying, but you're getting bits of black there. But I think so many different layers of color, a really interesting take on a yellow, and then just 2 really nice colors. And I definitely can't wait to ink this one up. Awesome, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me today. As always, would love to know your thoughts. If you want to comment below, and if you can hit like and subscribe, that would be awesome. I will chat to you guys again soon. Bye.